Festival of the Four Winds is my favorite festival. I love the ambience of the labyrinthine cliffs, and the Queen's Gauntlet is, in my opinion, one of the best additions to this game. I full clear the Gauntlet every day, and despite the age of the activity and the plethora of guides online, even the wiki has one, I still see players dying over and over to Salazan. And when my buddy, who played since launch, mentioned how difficult it was to avoid baby Suriel's attack, so he had to use Signet of Stone to survive, I felt the urge to add yet another guide to the pile. My hope is that I can foolproof it so that everyone can do this event with minimal issues. To accomplish that, I'm going to follow this structure. So, if you want, you can skip to the part you are having trouble with. First off, where is the Gauntlet? When you enter the Crown Pavilion and look slightly up, you can see the 6 arenas. When you go to the outer ring, there are walkways up. There are several NPCs at each arena, but the 2 important ones are the Fight Manager and the Ringmaster. You can select your desired opponent at the Fight Manager. Otherwise, you will fight the first opponent in the list you haven't defeated yet, or Liadri. To enter a fight, you talk to the Ringmaster. It takes 1 Queen's Gauntlet ticket to enter. You can get one by chance when killing the enemies below. A good chunk of them from completing the boss blitz below. Or, if you're desperate, the Gauntlet ticket vendor in the center will sell you some at a price. If you return to the Gauntlet after just doing a boss blitz, make sure that you don't enter before you have received your reward. The moment you enter the arena, you lose all participation credit for the boss blitz. Wait it out or help out before you continue. In the options menu, F11 by default, there are a few settings that can improve your gameplay. In the first tab, make sure to uncheck double tap to dodge. Dodges are important and they should happen when you decide they happen, not by double tapping by accident. Also in this tab, you can have AoEs always center around your target, with just 1 action instead of 2. This will make one of the hardest bosses a little bit more manageable. And lastly, on the second tab of graphics, I fully endorse you go with the best performance option. By going full potato mode, you not only remove several very obstructing screen effects, you also give your device the room to breathe in this harsh summer event. Not every arena is the same. For example, the light fields in the Liadri fight are safe to stand behind in some, and are against the wall in others. Experiment with the one you like best. My pick is the Northwestern or Silvari arena. After a fight, your cooldowns and profession resources are reset, so don't feel afraid to use your strongest skills to get you through a fight. Boons, effects and summons don't get removed when you enter the arena. You can prepare before a fight or even have a friend buff you up before going in. Don't stubbornly use a build if it's not working out. Making a small change can make all the difference. The bosses can't be immobilized, but they can still be crippled, chilled, blinded, weakened, slowed. They are susceptible to both hard and soft CC. Basically everything that makes PvP rough. Use this to your advantage, like outrunning a chilled enemy or permanently blind your foes. You can use a stacking sigil to give you an edge. Both the Gauntlet enemies and the enemies below will give you beneficial stacks. My first thought was to make a foolproof build for each class. But since not everyone has access to everything, and not to mention every player has a different playstyle, I decided against it. Since my usual go-to of Quickness Herald, who kills the bosses before they can show off what they do, I needed to nerf myself to showcase each boss. To that end, I'm going to play on a core thief that didn't even pay 10 gold for their gear. Also, it's basically unload only. My theory being, if I can half-ass it on this, you can do it with your favorite class. My final build tip will be to use a ranged weapon. Kiting is a strong game mechanic and can help with several encounters. Halmi Hammerfell is the introductory boss for a reason. He's mostly harmless, but has one very obvious attack with a long wind-up that can almost down every player. This to teach players that either run behind him or dodge the attack. Though I eat it like a champ. The gimmick with Doobroosh is that he gets a stacking buff when you attack him. Up to 10. It's fine as long as he can't touch you. The achievement requires Doobroosh to reach 10 stacks somewhere during the fight. Not necessary to kill him the moment he has 10 stacks. Usually you reach that in the fight, but if you're struggling, you can try to reach it at the very start and then take it slow. Windcaller Kielda becomes more dangerous the further you are in the fight. Some of her attacks push you back, but the real threat are the several tornadoes that spawn in the arena. Stability and blinds are great to get this fight over with fast. The Candle in the Wind achievement is almost trivial when you know how to tackle Kielda. However, it does introduce us to Gambits. To activate a Gambit, talk to the Master of Gambits next to the Ringmaster. Activating one costs 1 Queen's Gauntlet ticket and it's only good for 1 attempt. No refunds. The reward for completing a fight with a Gambit active is a single token per Gambit. So my suggestion is to only use them for achievements, or if you have tons of tickets and want to challenge yourself. Personally, I would like to see them be free or persist until a victory, as they are now discouraging people to seek a challenge and surplus tickets are better off sold. Suriel the Blazing Light is the first boss where you can't go guns blazing and hope for success. She starts the fight with a shield bubble that can only be removed if she makes contact with the black pools on the ground. She can also cast a very deadly spell, which is nullified by standing in the same black pools. Stand in the black pools to survive the initial attack and to lure her into it. If you lack damage, find the next black pool to survive follow-up shields and blasts. Tyre Ragemaw is a joke. The idea is that he gets stronger the lower his health is, but by then he is dead. Masticus' greatest strength is its enormous health bar. To make a dent, pick up the orange might balls in the arena. Masticus will try to hinder you by crippling you. Picking up 25 balls will also complete the Savage Brute achievement. Many players get tripped up by Salazan. He places a ring of fire around them, which can only be escaped with an invulnerable kind of effect or they get down. To make matters worse, one of Salazan's attacks is to have players drop a flame field underneath their feet. To be successful, be sure to run circles inside the ring of fire, to not stand in one place. Each of the 4 pirates is easier than the previous bosses, but when slain, all the other pirates heal up and gain an appropriate buff. Only their health gets reset, they still keep all conditions and thus condy bombing is a fast way to victory. Leaving the captain for last is a wise choice for the buffs. Another strategy is to lure them all together and just blast away, or you can pick off the ones that are closest. Subject 7 is a big ooze that gets smaller the more you hit it. When you do, little oozes spawn around it. It is wise to target the boss, or you might lose track of it when it's obscured by a dozen smaller oozes. To complete the achievement Blobs, Schmobs, you can't kill a single small ooze. There are 2 easy ways to accomplish that. Use a method that only hits one enemy, like Necromancer's Scepter or several ranger pets. There's also my favorite method of not hitting the boss at all. There are several skills that afflict conditions that don't deal any damage and thus won't spawn any small oozes. Deadeye Dunwell is a hard-hitting boss, with its greatest strength being the mine-ridden arena. The mines deal a decent amount of damage and knock the player down. Be careful with leap skills. Dunwell himself does some decent rifle damage, but the scariest attack is when he teleports away and uses a laser sight shot. This deals more damage the further away you are. Try to close the distance or dodge as soon as you can, which can be tricky with the mines. Teleporting yourself or using reflects or projectile blocks make this fight almost trivial. Because this fight is almost trivial, it is a good way to complete all the Gambit achievements. The achievement Humble Victory requires a victory in the tier 3 fight with the Frailty and Squeamish Gambit active. Frailty makes us take triple damage and Squeamish dampens the damage we deal by a good margin. Learn the pattern and Dunwell and this achievement can be done with little practice. Several achievements require a tier 3 victory with multiple gambits active, with high stakes Gambler being the biggest as it requires 5 gambits. It's not strange to think that you could combine it with the previous Humble Victor achievement, and it's certainly possible, but if you were to go for this achievement, I would suggest taking all the gambits except Squeamish and Frailty. This will make sure the fight is over before the restrictions can do any real harm. It is not guaranteed, of course, and I even had to resort to using steel, but again, little practice should be adequate. Strugar and Chomper are both melee brawlers. They are meant to spawn apart, but sometimes can spawn on top of each other. They try to snare you with pools and cripples. Strugar throws a hunk of meat every so often, somewhere in the arena. When Chomper eats those, it gets a big damage buff. You can eat a hunk of meat yourself for a heal and increased damage, though it will stun you if you eat too many. When either gets defeated, the other transforms and becomes more deadly. Especially a well-fed Chomper can be deadly with a big jump attack. Try to kill them at approximately the same time. To achieve meatless murder, Chomper can not eat any hunks of meat. Either kill them before they get the chance to throw or eat a hunk of meat, or cripple or chill Chomper and outrun them to eat the meat yourself. Or use projectile block to make sure the meat doesn't even spawn. Liadri the Concealing Dark is a boss you see often in the arena. It is the default boss for people who have cleared all the bosses before and any after, and it's also a relatively long fight. Like Suriel in tier 1, Liadri has a shield that can only be destroyed by the pools on the ground. Only this time they are white pools of light. Since Liadri stands in the middle, we need to find a different way to make use of those. During the fight, up to 4 visions of mortality will spawn alongside the edges. They will slowly walk towards you and they will down you if they touch you or kill you when you're already down. When one of them touches a light pool, they will turn into an orb of blazing light. Throwing these on Liadri will remove one of her 3 shields. Repeat this twice more to make Liadri vulnerable. Also during the fight, a quarter of the arena will be blasted with dark energy. This is best avoided, but if need be, you can dodge it, block it, or use invulnerable techniques to survive. If not, you will go down. Every so often, cosmic rifts will spawn. These will pull you and all your allies towards them, which often is at an unfortunate time. They only have 1 hit point, so destroy the rift as soon as you can. After Liadri's shield is gone, she will start to move. She has a simple auto attack, but the skills to look out for are her leap and her spin attack. They deal a lot of damage and cripple. Cripple is dangerous, as now it's not a quarter, but half the arena that will be blasted with shadow magic. Not to mention the visions of mortality that still walk towards you. To speed up the first part, you can use pools to pull the visions into the circles of light. But be careful when pulling multiple, as they will not always all transform. The light pools will also appear in the same spots, so repetition can speed up the learning process. Marking Liadri herself makes it easy to retarget her after a rift or a vision to throw an orb on her. Stealth and knockdowns give some breathing room to pick up an orb and throw them. Avoiding the dangers after the shield is down is key, so be sure to use speed boosts and vigor to stay ahead of the dangers. 3 minutes is a long time. Do not fret about not doing enough damage. If survival's too hard, use a healing build. If you have trouble with the Cosmic Rifts, you can have a party member outside of the arena mark them for you. The visions can be blinded to not have them deal damage. You can rally from the Cosmic Rifts and the visions, even if the visions explode from themselves, as long as you have attacked them and you are invulnerable or have blinded them. Going down doesn't mean it's the end. Light up the darkness is the big one. To complete this, Liadri needs to be hit by a total of 8 orbs of blazing light. Before this year, I have only done this achievement twice. Once in the very first year on a warrior that couldn't be crippled, and later on my free-to-play with a very stealthy thief. Both utilized some of the tips previously mentioned, staying ahead of the dangers with a fast warrior, and utilizing stealth on a thief to make sure I was able to land the orbs. Not being tied down is crucial, but stealth can be substituted with other techniques. One technique is to use pools to gather multiple orbs at once. Another one is to have a distraction. It's not consistent, but Liadri can be distracted by pets and summons. This gives some breathing room to throw orbs. It helps a lot to have a sturdy build. Healing and blocks make this fight much easier. You might think this will not give you enough time to kill Liadri, but I more often failed by accidentally killing her than dying from the hazards. Keeping tracks of the orbs is not easy in a hectic fight. If you have trouble, you can have a friend keep count. Every orb will also apply a long-lasting vulnerability on Liadri, meaning that 5 of these stacks signal 8 total orbs. However, this is not a great indicator if your build uses vulnerability as well. The special tier enemies are not to be messed with. A small slip up can mean a swift end. Master of Lightning is a great example for this. Almost all attacks are crowd control in some way, and the one that isn't is a very deadly whirl that sucks you in. When she does that, use your survival skills or get far away. Otherwise, use stability and stun breaks or channel your inner Master of Lightning for lots of stuns and dazes to dispatch her with ease. Pallia the Errant is not that scary once you know the fight. There are 3 skills to look out for. One where she summons 4 glowy balls on the outer edge of the arena. They will reflect projectiles. Standing in the center of the arena renders this skill inert. She also does a slow whirl with a knockdown on the end. If you see her whirling at you, you can avoid a risky knockdown. The first skill is the Executioner's Sword, denoted with the orange circle and the action key. You can avoid it with dodges and blind, or step out of the circle. Or you can catch the sword and throw it back at her to deal exactly 10% of her HP. Be careful not to get knocked down while trying to catch the sword, as that can get ugly quickly. Like Pallia, Gladiator Wayne has 3 scary attacks. One is a skill that doesn't do damage, but like the Pallia balls, limits the arena size. In Wayne's case, this is a blue line. Another is a stomp, indicated with a swift leap followed by an orange circle. Hard to avoid, best to be healed up after. The worst attack is where he sends out blue sword waves, as seen by the orange rectangles on the ground. This attack can be easily outrun, or even avoided by standing far away from him. Projectile blocks and reflects work as well, as do the usual interrupts. However, just a few waves can mean the end of this fight. Stay alert. Suriel has been training, and it shows. As the blazing light, she poses the biggest threat in this tier. Like before, she starts the fight with a shield and can't be hit. This time, however, she summons 3 bows of truth. When all 3 are summoned, they will shoot an unavoidable and unblockable chain at you. Each chain increases incoming damage, cripples and burns. When all 3 chains hit, you will be immobilized by a unique effect. Condition cleanse and resistance have no effect on it. To prevent this from happening, you can prematurely destroy the bows while they are summoned and use blinds on them to have them miss their chain. After the bows would shoot their chains, Suriel loses her shield and engages. She has a leap that blinds and a leap that knocks back. Her main attack is a fast flurry of fists that apply vulnerability with each hit. Try to stay a bit away from her to avoid her hits. She will flex on you when you go down in this phase, and the fight usually ends when that happens. After a few moments, she will return to the center and resummon any bows that were destroyed. She will also gain a break bar. Use this to your advantage and keep her in the middle and buy yourself some time for some easy damage. Many people see King Turai Ossa as the hardest challenge, and I could tell you all about the intricacies of this fight, like the sword and the shield, but compared to all the others, I'm not going to. I'm going to give you an almost 100% foolproof strategy, all based around the relic of speed and having swiftness. Now, when you have swiftness, you only have to dodge the knockdown attack after the big leap attack. Otherwise, you just have to run around in circles. I'm so confident I'm going to do this naked. After running around for a bit, Turai will jump to the middle and throw his shield. Block it, evade it, sidestep it, just don't get hit by it. After that, break his bar. In my regular runs I kill him here, but for now we continue running. He still does that one attack we need to avoid, but we know how it looks by now. And after a while he jumps to the middle again. Avoid the throw, break the bar, and now he's exposed. An easy kill.